Hi, my name's Melinda. This is Lori. This is Teresa, and this is Greg. So today, what we're going to talk about is childhood obesity. So one thing I want to remind you about childhood obesity is how we prevent any kind of illness with our children in the future. So one thing we have to look at: video games, exercise, outside activities. We need to look into those things because outside activities, exercise, those are the things that can help prevent childhood obesity, any kind of fatal illness or acute or chronic. So when we get our kids these games, these video games, these computers, and they're laying around their room, they're not doing anything, they're eating, they're laying down, they're playing their games, that just relieves us as parents where we can relax, come home from work because the kids have something already keeping them occupied. So what we need to think about is how's this going to look to our kids' future? Is it going to cause diabetes? Is it going to cause hypertension? Is it going to cause obesity to lead to the hypertension or diabetes? So that's one thing as parents that we need to focus more on. Coming up as a child, we played outside. We played until dark. Nowadays, kids are now in their rooms. They're playing tablets. They're playing phones. They're playing video games because they're more focused on electronics. And it's not the kids' fault, it's our fault as parents because we're not standing ground and doing these things that we should do to prevent this in the future. Every day kids are getting diagnosed with some kind of illness, whether it's chronic, whether it's acute. Either way, as parents, we can prevent this. So another thing I want to talk about as well too, exercise. How many times do we even tell our kids to go outside, go play ball, go play football, go ride a bike? How many times do you see kids out now riding bikes like they used to, playing sports? None. Right. So one thing we can do is stress that to the children because we are the parents. They're just children. They're just going to go with what we let them do as a child. So it all falls back on the parents. So one thing we can also think about is eating habits, snacks, junk food, sweets, and that's what usually kids rely on when they come in from school. They want snacks, they want juice. So we can give them snacks and juice, but we have to make it healthy snacks and juice. It can be no sugar, it can be fruit snacks rather than chips or little Debbie cakes, things like that. And when they eat these snacks and these little Debbie cakes, and then the next thing they do is go to their room, play on their video game, and just lay around. So just think about that in the future of how your child can grow up and have unhealthy weight and end up turning to diabetes and hypertension. I work at the hospital and every day I see diabetes and hypertension. It's the number one thing. Over half my patients that I have every day is diabetic and hypertension. And that all starts from childhood. As parents, we should be able to start preventing that at an early age to prevent the diabetes and hypertension in the future. Also, another thing, think about how unhealthy the child's going to feel. Think about, bullying or something in school. Childhood obesity. Think about the children being bullied in school as well with childhood obesity. You don't want your child going through that. And you also wouldn't want your child going through any kind of health issues as they get older. So that's one thing we need to be mindful on. Also think about dinner time. Most families, some eat in the living room while the kids eat in the kitchen. That's one thing we need to be mindful about. Come together as a family, eat. No electronics at the table when you're eating. Everybody should just be on one accord in a home. Things aren't like it used to be anymore. As I was speaking, my childhood days, we were always outside playing with little cousins, little friends, neighbors, playing hide and go seek, riding bikes, playing ball, whichever we could find to do, we did it. Now it's different than where it was when I was a child. Now it's just video games, cell phones, tablets, and that's pretty much it with children now. They don't have that responsibility that they used to anymore because us as parents has failed them because we fail to realize that we're just making it poor for their health as they get older. So that's one thing I wanted, just for you to just focus on as about childhood obesity.